Good morning and welcome to my introduction of my creation. For this assignment, I chose option B, creating and designing my own instrument. And for this, I have chosen the chordophones, or the string instrument family. And as you can see here, I have named it Rectangular. Just a little something to add a little bit of personal flair. Um, in this instrument, I chose to repurpose this previous thing that I had constructed, a box made out of wood. I made it using my father's saw and wood, spare pieces of wood that he had lying around, as he's a contractor. And I repurposed some of these tacks and different thickness rubber bands to form the body and frame of my instrument. And in here I had some Lego pieces, as I am a huge fan, to add some spice to the instrument. I don't want it to just be an empty box with some rubber bands thrown over it. And here it even serves as dual purpose, as functionality and form, as it has some spare rubber bands. Typical of using a stringed instrument. You'd be playing it, going too little hard, jamming on the guitar or something like that, and boom, you have to go replace the strings and have to wait to get some more practice in, because you may not have some laying around. But here, you work one of these and you got some more bad boys in here. And as I mentioned, you have wood here, and it's typical of chordophones to be made of wood, as the sound resonates way better in it. For this, I could have done more of a smaller hole, which is what I attempted to do, and to fill in this empty void so I can catch more of the sound. And yeah, I will leave the demonstration for the end, but some of the influences for this instrument in particular is, honestly, I constructed this instrument before I had started any writing of the research portion for this assignment. I made sure to read the assignment, of course, but I was at work in my workstation just listening to some music when the song Painted Black by the Rolling Stones, as you may know, very famous song, came on, and they used the sitar, which I then referenced in my research paper as one of their main instruments instead of the guitar, because it has a way different sound, and that sound just prompted me to pick chordophones for my instrument. And yeah, for this, another main influence was guitar. I used to have an electric guitar. Practiced for like 2 weeks, and like in most other things as a child, I kind of just grew out of it, switched on to something else that week. You know how it is. But I always wanted to learn how to play it, and honestly, I can probably recall in an elementary class making something similar, though made out of cardboard and other forms of rubber band, to use as a makeshift version of this. But given 10 years since that, I have managed to evolve this design into the masterpiece you see right here. Some of the challenges when designing this was, honestly, probably, besides the carpentry that went into this, as I am not as skilled as my father, as you can probably tell, but were probably the rubber bands, as I didn't have them lying around. I had to find them, and yeah, I managed to find all of these, but that came way later after throwing these on top. And before the demonstration, I'd like to explain the reason why I have these arranged like this. So, as I mentioned, I had difficulty finding the rubber bands, different widths, and here each one is a different width, as you can see, from the thinnest to the widest. This is because this will allow for the different pitches. There's 5 different widths, so there are 5 distinct pitches, although this is where these come into play, where we can change them up a little bit. This won't necessarily add more pitches, but it will change our range on each one right here. And now for the demonstration, I have as you can see, I have arranged these so in terms of the width corresponds with the sound produced, with the pitch produced. Right here we have our thinnest one, And here, our thickest one and least tightly bound produces our lowest, and this is our highest. Another thing interesting with this is that we can move these from here, or even string them around a couple of times to create a more distinct sound.